Hello. I'm here with Paula Gunn Allen, who is on the phone from Fort Bragg, California. Paula Gunn Allen is an award-winning poet, literary critic, activist, teacher, and novelist. A registered member of the Laguna Pueblo tribe, Allen was born in Cubero, New Mexico, a rural land grant situated next to the Laguna Pueblo Reservation. Her mother's ancestral background was Laguna Pueblo, Métis, and Scottish, and her father's was Lebanese-American. Completing a Ph.D. in American Studies at the University of New Mexico, she has worked as a professor and lecturer in creative writing, women's studies, and Native American ethnic studies. She has also won numerous honors and awards, from a National Endowment for the Arts Fellowship to a 1990 Before Columbus Foundation American Book Award for Spider Woman's Granddaughters. Good morning, Professor Gunn Allen.
Good morning. How are you doing, Simon?
I'm all right. It's great to have you on the line. So my first question. In your intro to The Sacred Hoop, which is one of your books, you note, I am especially fortunate because the wind and the sky, the trees and the rocks, and the sticks and the stars are usually in a teaching mood. So when I need an answer to some dilemma, I can generally get one, for which I must say thank you to them all. So how and what have you learned from these objects of the natural world?
Oh, gee, well, read my books and read my poetry, and there it is.
Right.
One of the things we're having a conversation about at the moment is how do I go about being an old woman?
Oh, really?
This is a very unpleasant and new experience, and I don't like it.
Okay.
But, you know, it happened in puberty. You lost your body, and you got another one.
Right.
And your whole reality went, ass over tea kettle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you came out in your 20s not knowing what the heck had happened.
Mm-hmm.
And, we sort of make up a story about what happened, and usually it's, our awful teens. And they were awful for reasons that we don't even or didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Our brains go actually a bit psychotic. Well, anyway, old age, the same thing happens. Your body turns into somebody else's body, something you didn't know. That's the hard part. The interesting part is your mind and your, spirit, your emotional system, at least in my case and in the case of a lot of older people I know, they become really wonderfully strong. And so it's kind of peculiar. The body is slowly decaying, and the rest is beginning to sing. And just sit and watch. I just sit and watch. And I watch the flowers. I live on the coast where things are always blooming.
Mm-hmm.
And but you watch things get into full bloom, and then they wither, and then they drop their seeds, and then they start over.
Mm-hmm.
And this just keeps happening, and it's so neat because they keep giving these gifts back, giving themselves back to the earth, and then the earth responds by giving them back to themselves. It's just absolutely cool.
Oh, okay, I see. So you learn lessons about life from the natural world, from the cyclical birth and rebirth.
That I learned, and I learned that the natural world, as we call it, has an absolutely wacko sense of humor.
Really? In what sense?
Long ago, I was in England at, I can't think of the name of the bog at the moment, outside of Birmingham, where Tolkien grew up. Mm-hmm. And it's the bog that he used as the basis for his stories, The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. And it is a truly magical place. And I don't mean magical, oh, so pretty. I mean magical like power. And you get in there, and you don't realize that you're surrounded by a city. It seems to go on forever. And you get lost in there. And I mentioned it to my English friend, and she said people get lost there all the time. You just can't remember where the tracks are. It's very odd. Anyway, so I had taken some students. I was doing a workshop, and I had taken some students in there and sent them off to go draw some plants and talk to them. And I find that talking to plants helps if you just shut up and draw and listen. Otherwise, we make up what they're saying, and we have them say what we want them to say, or what we imagined plants would say. So we watch too damn much Disney, so we're really screwed up. So it's better, not to do that. Anyway, so I'm sitting there under this huge old tree. It was an oak tree, and I was getting bored, so I started emptying out my bag. And I was sorting through this and that and emptying out tobacco bits and one thing and another. And then I heard the tree say to me, "What's that?" So I had my lipstick in my hand, and I said, "Oh, well, that's lipstick."
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "Well, what's that?" So I put some on and said, "See, that's what it is." She says, "Okay, I want some." So I wandered around the tree trying to find what looked like, to my eyes, an appropriate place to put lipstick. And I finally gave up and put it where she seemed to think it would be good.
Right.
And so that was fine. And then I sat back down, I lit a cigarette. She says, "I want one."
Right.
So about the time these women come, now these are very, very spiritual women who don't smoke and, don't drink and don't cuss. And they don't wear makeup either.
Right.
And they come up the trail. Here's this old lady tree and me with lipstick and cigarette.
So did you give a cigarette to the tree?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. How did you do that?
I paid attention, but it had very rough bark.
Right, okay.
So you could do it, and I paid attention so that I don't think it could have caught it if it wanted to, but I still paid attention. She just wanted to try it out.
Yeah.
She just... And so that's the sort of thing that I get, But the other thing that happens as I get older is life gets funnier and funnier.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they know that.
Who?
I think, frankly, they make a lot of fun of us. They think we're nuts.
Mm-hmm.
With good reason. And I don't mean that in a negative, "Oh, aren't we horrible? We're
Mm-hmm.
killing the earth, we're all going to die," because I think that's just such Christian thinking.
Right.
The noun's changed. And instead of it being God, it's Mother Earth. But it's the same story. And it's not a story I particularly agree with, or for that matter, approve of, because I just don't think that that's true. My story is we're sort of brand termites, and we kind of eat all the wood. And then we ship things out, and it causes all these changes. This is true. I'm not going to argue about that. But it isn't that we're so bright and we're so powerful and we're so special that we can destroy the earth, because I don't think we can. I think she's way too big for us.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes through these huge changes a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And this one we're not going to like. We are not going to like it. I don't like it. But that's just me. I'm not the earth.
Mm-hmm. So maybe just to elaborate on that, the earth, in the Sacred Hoop, you write again that we can say that the sun or the earth or a tree is a symbol of an extraordinary truth.
Mm.
Now, what do you mean by that, by truth? Is this a...
See, sometimes, Simon, I wish that I was paying attention when I wrote. It's sort of like teaching. I can talk or I can listen, but I can't do both.
I'm the same.
Oh, gee, I don't know. I wrote that so long ago, I have no idea. But what I could say today, my best friends are the trees. I like the birds a lot, too, but trees are really, through my whole childhood, the trees and the rocks. But anyway, trees, we think about this group of molecules gets together, and these molecules are partly tree and partly bacteria and little bugs and one thing and another, and they all sing. And they do this particular song, and it's called The Tree. The pine tree, the spruce tree, the willow tree. And it's absolutely profound. It's amazing. How does that happen? It shouldn't happen. We shouldn't be able to walk. If you could get up right now and walk across the studio, what happens is you have this idea, and then all these molecules follow you. Isn't that incredible? Your body's covered with bacteria, every inch inside and out. And they all go along, too. They don't just stay there at the chair. That's just absolutely, that's profound.
Right. Now, you were saying that, the elements of the natural world must be laughing at us.
Yeah.
How are they laughing at us? So they're not terrified of what we're doing to it.
No.
You get this, okay.
No. Well, in one of my poems, it might be one of the ones I'm going to read, I talk about how the plants are migrating north. And this friend of mine was very upset. She lives in Seattle, and how all the plants there are moving north. She says, well, it never occurred to me that plants could move. I thought they were stuck.
Right.
And it just astonished me. Oh, my God, they're migrating. Now, that's pretty darn cool. Now, I'm sitting here feeling so sorry for, the poor plants, and so's my friend. Oh, poor us, we're losing the plants. Well, move north, that attached to those plants.
Mm-hmm.
How hard is it? That's what I mean. We have crazy thinking, and they know we've got crazy thinking. One day I was coming back from Ukiah, and there's this windy mountain road between the main highway and Fort Bragg, and Highway 20, and it was what they in the States call Black Friday. It's a very strange term, but it means the day after Thanksgiving, when everybody goes shopping and the stores are all in the black, I guess. Anyway, I'm driving up, and I come around this curve, and there are these 4 turkeys with their rear ends to me, and I swear they're mooning me. It's like, ha, 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 you didn't eat us, ha, ha, ha.
So you seem to have a very irreverent kind of then understanding of the environment then, of...
Absolutely. It's not about piety. It never was about piety.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Listen, the earth is so rough and tumble. She's one mean bitch. And we keep forgetting that. We keep making her this sweet little Disney person.
Now, you keep mentioning it. You keep talking of the earth in female metaphors. And I've come across, for instance, you refer to the spider woman, grandmother spider, and thought woman.
Yeah.
How is that important?
Well, where I come from, God is a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's a real interesting controversy about, did the Indians really say Mother Earth, or did some European make it up and say that we said it? And there's a great deal of controversy, because by now, 400 or 500 years, who knows? I've never run into a term that was Mother Earth. I have run into an awful lot of terms where there's a given name, and it has something to do with the earth, and it's female. Like Nakoma's grandmother, which is Algonquin. Or for us, Iyatiku, which means beautiful corn. And she's sort of the mother of the lagunas, but she's not Mother Earth. There's a difference. Mm-hmm. And there's grandmother of the sun. The sun among the lagunas is Oshrats, and he's male. So there's a sixth killer, don't you love that name, Sutalidihi. She's the sun Cherokee, female. So I can't answer the question because I don't know the answer. However, I have to confess, with some embarrassment, that I've sort of picked up this kind of New Age terminology, Mother Earth. And I use it, and I'm not entirely sure. I'm not that comfortable with it, but I use it anyway. Maybe it's grandmother. Maybe it's great-great-grandma. I don't know.
Well, because I know you talk about the grandmother spider.
No, it's for thought woman. That's entirely different.
The thought
grandmother
woman.
Spider. That's entirely different.
Than the grandmother spider.
Yeah, grandmother spider is a term for a thought woman. It's a sort of familiar term because they never say her actual name. They just don't.
No, why?
Because you don't. It's disrespectful.
Okay. Why thought? Why thought woman? Why?
You know what's really cool about that is she is the only being that can think something from nothing. I think that's just the coolest concept. Mm-hmm. We can't. It's not possible for any created being to do that. But she can't. Does that say she wasn't created? Well, they don't say that. And I'm not willing to make up stuff that isn't, what I was told. So why she's spider is a terribly interesting question. And I don't know the answer, except I know that she's powerful and she's very witchy. And I don't mean that in a negative sense, but she's a great sorceress, a magician of just enormous proportions.
Well, what is the sacred hoop?
The sacred hoop is the hoop of the everything. Everything, as my mother used to say, everything is connected to everything. And if any one thing is different, everything is different. So right now there's 4 birds outside, 2 just flew away, and they're at the bird feeder and on the fence. The point is that if it weren't for those birds, you and I wouldn't be talking right now.
Now, is that linked to the circle? I know the circle is a powerful image in your writing, and why is the circle significant?
I love that question, because the hoop, we have hoop dancers at home, the Lagunas, and they dance with, maybe 7, maybe even 14 hoops. You never saw anything like it. It's this thing, going in and out, their bodies going in and out of all these hoops with their arms and their legs and their heads and their torsos, all with different hoops. It's just incredible to see. But aside from that, at the Pueblos, nobody dances in circles. They dance in straight lines. Now, that's important to know. whereas on the plains they dance in circles. And I think that, well, the wind on the plains goes around in circles, like, for example, tornadoes. Whereas at home, it comes in straight lines, straight from the southeast or the southwest or the northeast or the northwest, which are our sacred directions, by the way. Mm-hmm. So exactly why a circle is important, I think it's because of recurrence.
Recurrence.
Recurrence. It's winter and then it's summer, you know.
The cycles.
Corn grows, the corn grows and then you harvest it. And then you plant it and then it grows, and, you know, until the rain comes and then it doesn't rain. It's not the rainy season. Or you see what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's, I think that's where the concept, mm-hmm. how that fact gets sort of put into language. But I don't know that. I'm surmising here.
Okay. What about the word sacred?
my favorite question.
Is it?
Well, you're asking great questions. What? I don't like the word. I'm sorry. Go ahead. What?
Well, how is it understood differently by? And this will have to be your last question. How is it understood differently by technological and tribal societies?
Great question. I'm teaching a course online at the moment, and I just asked the question about certain words, sacred being one of them. And one of the responses I got was from a Ute woman, and she went on to say, sacred, that word reminds me of the dances that my people do. And she goes on and talks about some of the, quote, sacred dances. And what it means is that there's a certain kind of, let's say, paranormal relationship that interfaces between the other dimensions, or the spirit world, if you will, and the mundane or ordinary world, the one that we live in. And so there's the material reality, which Lame Deer, who's a Lakota thinker, he's dead now, he says that the material world that we look at, that's the symbol. And the reality is the other one, which I've never found any Indian thought that disagrees with that, by the way. So sacred means when you enter that other space and then you move from there. Or iyañi, to walk in that way, or Hozho, to walk in beauty, or to walk in balance. They all mean to be, but again, it has nothing to do with piety. It has nothing to do with being holy. It has nothing to do with being sinless.
By piety, what do you mean?
Oh, I'm so holy, and I do everything so holy because I'm such a holy person. As opposed to the kind of piety that respects and reveres the divine because it's damn scary.
Because it's damn scary.
It's not necessarily mean. It's just huge and scary.
And is that the sacredness? Is that?
Oh yeah. I believe that the thermonuclear bombs are sacred.
Really?
And I say that because to make it very clear what the word sacred means. It means bloody dangerous. You don't mess with it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to have to wrap up, unfortunately. I would love to talk further, but Paula Gunn Allen, thanks so much for talking with us. And so we've been speaking with Paula Gunn Allen, and she's an award-winning poet, literary critic, activist, teacher, and novelist, and she's speaking with us over the phone from Fort Bragg, California. And we will be back after the half hour with Paula Gunn Allen, reading from some of her poetry.